Storytel Original presents The Eyewitness by Bågstam, narrated by Shannon. Episode 1. Sunday, August 27th, 2017. Margareta must be crazy. Start a new job on a Sunday? Since when do criminal investigators work on weekends? She reads the text message again. Harriet, I tried to call you earlier, but your phone seems to be turned off. Can you come in tomorrow? Best wishes, Margareta Blott. Sent at 22:37, Saturday night. Either her new boss is a workaholic, or working weekends has become the norm for Skåne police since the restructuring. Harriet puts the phone back in her bag. It's early morning, and the pennant in their neighbour Yvonne's garden is fluttering high up on its pole. Out at sea, white geese are flying overhead, and the wind carries a faint smell of rotting seaweed in from the harbour. Carefully, Harriet pushes the front door closed and sneaks along the paved garden path. A click sounds as she unlocks the silver-coloured Saab on the driveway. She glances back one last time at her father's lime-washed house. Once upon a time it had been a fisherman's cottage, but, as the family grew, the house had been extended lengthways, as was the tradition in the south of Sweden. It forms a black and white contour against the grass, where the land falls steeply down to the beach. Hollyhocks almost as tall as the house itself obscure its windows, but Harriet can see that it is still dark inside. Neither her father Eugen nor his Alsatian Cato are awake. She takes her phone out again. Typical that her new boss couldn't ring. The mobile coverage barely extends down to Lerviken, where her father lives. Messages are okay, but calls almost never go through. Nothing happens here anyway, as Yvonne likes to say as she nods lovingly at Eugen over their customary afternoon coffee in the garden, the summer's day edging towards evening. Yvonne has lived in the rosy red brick house next to Eugen for as long as Harriet can remember, but is not yet 50. She must have been very young when Harriet was small, but Harriet thought she seemed so much older than her mother Joran. Perhaps because Yvonne always said the kinds of things older people said, and liked the same things too. A quiet life. That's what we have here, Eugen, me and the others. In Lerviken, we slow down when the lights turn to amber. We don't speed up. She reaches the country road and puts her foot down on the accelerator, leaving the little village behind her. In less than 15 minutes, she will be outside the police station in Landskrona. Inland, the fields spread out before her, and glimpses of farms are to be had between the leaves and branches that mark the boundaries between them. The fields have already been harvested, and the landscape reminds her of a patchwork quilt. Harriet turns onto the highway that runs parallel to the sea. The coastline is lined with fishing villages. Ålabodana, Sundvik, and Bågstam, and Lerviken, of course, named after the clay works that serviced the local brick factory for all of the previous century. All that is left now are the deep, water-filled pits that serve as the only reminder of that time. This is the most beautiful place on earth, maybe in the whole universe, Harriet thinks. She made the right choice, and it's going to be great. For a second, she allows her gaze to move from the white centre line and slide out over the grassy valley. A herd of brown and white cows is grazing on the slope down to the sea. There, sitting on the horizon in the middle of the rolling sound, are the wind turbines, and beyond them, just visible, the contours of the bridge to Denmark. The South's big investment in civil investigators was her chance to do something new, something other than break-ins and troubled youth that made up the majority of her work in Stockholm. She had something to prove since disappointing her father by quitting her law degree and switching to sociology. She will never be a professor like her father, but a fixed-term contract.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?